Welcome, everyone. Today, I have something truly special for you. This is not just a story about a drink. This is a story about failure, ambition, marketing genius, competition, controversy, and ultimate success. By the end of this journey, you will learn how a failed pharmacist accidentally created a billion-dollar brand, how Coca-Cola almost disappeared before it even started, how smart marketing and advertising made it a global empire, the truth about its biggest failures and mistakes, and most importantly, what you can learn from this story to apply in your own life. This story will improve your spoken English because I will explain everything in simple, clear, and easy-to-understand language. If you listen carefully, you will learn new vocabulary, sentence structures, and the power of storytelling. So stay till the end, because this story is not just about Coca-Cola. It's about how you can turn your own dreams into reality, no matter how small you start. Let's begin the journey of the most famous brand in the world, Coca-Cola. Our story begins in the year 1886 in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. A man named Dr. John Stith Pemberton was working in his laboratory, trying to create a new kind of medicine. Pemberton was not a businessman. He was a pharmacist, a scientist, a war veteran. He had fought in the American Civil War and had been badly injured. Because of his pain, he became addicted to morphine, a powerful drug. He wanted to find a cure for his addiction. Instead of relying on dangerous drugs, he decided to create a new type of health drink. But what happened next was something he never expected. Pemberton started experimenting with different plant extracts to create a tonic, a drink that could give people energy, cure headaches, and improve mood. His original formula contained coca leaves. This plant was from South America and contained cocaine, which was legal at that time. Cola nuts. These nuts contained caffeine, which gave energy and alertness. Wine. The drink was first called Pemberton's French wine coca because it contained alcohol. People started drinking it, and they loved the energy boost it gave them. But there was a big problem. In 1886, Atlanta passed a law banning alcohol. This meant Pemberton's drink had to change. So he removed the wine and started experimenting again. One day, while working in his laboratory, he accidentally mixed his syrup with carbonated water. When he tasted it, he was shocked. It was delicious. He took it to Jacob's Pharmacy, a local drugstore, and asked them to sell it. They started serving it for 5 cents per glass at their soda fountain. This was the birth of the drink we now know as Coca-Cola. Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank M. Robinson, was a marketing genius. He told Pemberton, "The two main ingredients are coca from coca leaves and cola from cola nuts. We should call it Coca-Cola. It sounds catchy." Not only did he name it, but he also designed the original Coca-Cola logo in his own handwriting. That same curved, flowing script is still used today. Even at the very beginning, branding was everything. Pemberton had created a great drink, but he was not a businessman. He didn't understand how to grow a company. He was also sick and struggling financially. So instead of expanding Coca-Cola, he started selling small parts of the business to different investors. One of those investors was Asa Candler, a businessman who saw something Pemberton did not. Pemberton sold the Coca-Cola formula to Candler for just $2,300, about $70,000 today. This was the biggest mistake of his life. In 1888, Pemberton died without knowing that his drink would become the most famous in the world. Candler was not a scientist. He was not an inventor. He was a businessman with one goal: to make Coca-Cola the most famous drink in the world. By 1891, Candler had successfully bought out all the other investors and became the sole owner of Coca-Cola. But the company was still small. It was only being sold in a few pharmacies. It was not yet the global empire we know today. Candler knew that if Coca-Cola was going to succeed, he had to do something that had never been done before. Candler didn't invent Coca-Cola, but he did something even more important. He made Coca-Cola a lifestyle. He used marketing strategies that were unheard of at the time. These strategies made Coca-Cola go from being a small drink in a pharmacy to a national and international sensation. The free sample strategy, giving away Coca-Cola for free. Candler believed in one simple rule: if people taste Coca-Cola once, they will buy it again. So he started giving it away for free. He printed hundreds of thousands of coupons that allowed people to get a free glass of Coca-Cola. He placed these coupons everywhere, in newspapers, magazines, and even handed them out on the streets. He sent salesmen to bars, pharmacies, and soda fountains, asking them to serve Coca-Cola for free to customers. This might seem like a crazy idea, giving away the product for free. But it worked. Within a few years, millions of people had tried Coca-Cola, and they loved it. They kept coming back and were now willing to pay for it. By 1900, 1 in every 9 Americans had tried Coca-Cola. Candler had created a demand that had never existed before. Branding everywhere. Making Coca-Cola a household name. Candler understood something most businesses fail to realize. If you want people to remember your product, they need to see it everywhere. So he made sure the name Coca-Cola was on everything. Clocks, calendars, notebooks, billboards, painted on buildings, on store signs. No matter where people went, they saw "Drink Coca-Cola" written somewhere. This was the first time in history that a product was being marketed so aggressively. And guess what? It worked. By 1895, Coca-Cola was being sold in every state in the U.S. The Coca-Cola bottle, the beginning of a legend. At first, Coca-Cola was only sold in soda fountains, meaning people had to go to a shop or pharmacy to drink it. But in 1899, 2 lawyers from Tennessee, Joseph Whitehead and Benjamin Thomas, approached Candler with a business idea. They wanted to start bottling Coca-Cola so people could buy it and drink it anywhere, anytime. At first, Candler didn't believe in the idea, but eventually he agreed and sold them the rights to bottle Coca-Cola for just $1. This was another huge mistake, because soon, Coca-Cola bottles became more popular than the drink sold in soda fountains. The first Coca-Cola bottles were simple and easily copied by competitors. So in 1915, Coca-Cola designed a unique bottle shape that was impossible to imitate. That famous curved Coca-Cola bottle? It was created to fight copycats. While Coca-Cola was growing, another drink was being created in North Carolina. In 1893, a pharmacist named Caleb Bradham invented a new cola drink. He called it Brad's Drink, but in 1898, he changed the name to Pepsi-Cola. Bradham was inspired by Coca-Cola, but he wanted to make a drink that was cheaper and more affordable for everyday people. At first, Pepsi was not a threat to Coca-Cola. It was just another soda. But things were about to change. During the Great Depression, 1929 to 1939, Coca-Cola refused to lower its price. It was still selling for 5 cents per bottle. Pepsi saw an opportunity. They introduced a bigger bottle for the same price, offering twice the amount of Pepsi for 5 cents. For the first time in history, Coca-Cola had serious competition. People who were struggling financially started switching to Pepsi because it was a better deal. This was the beginning of the legendary Pepsi versus Coca-Cola War, a battle that continues to this day. For the first 40 years, Coca-Cola contained cocaine from coca leaves. Back then, cocaine was legal and was believed to have health benefits. People thought it helped with fatigue, pain, and mood. But as time passed, scientists and doctors realized the dangers of cocaine. By the early 1900s, there was pressure on Coca-Cola to remove cocaine from the formula. In 1904, Coca-Cola stopped using fresh coca leaves and switched to spent coca leaves, which had most of the cocaine removed. By 1929, Coca-Cola was completely cocaine-free. However, Coca-Cola never officially admitted that it used to contain cocaine. This remains one of the biggest controversies in the company's history. As Coca-Cola grew into a national sensation in the early 1900s, one thing was clear. It was no longer just a drink. It was becoming a symbol of American culture. But for Coca-Cola to become a truly legendary company, it needed to do something bigger, something no other brand had done before. It needed to go beyond the United States and become a global empire. In 1919, Asa Candler sold Coca-Cola to a group of investors for $25 million, which would be worth hundreds of millions today. Why did Asa Candler sell Coca-Cola? Asa Candler was getting older and wanted to focus on other things. He had already made Coca-Cola a huge success, but he was not interested in running the company forever. Instead, he wanted to spend more time with his family and on charity work. At the same time, World War I, 1914 to 1918, had just ended, and the price of sugar, one of Coca-Cola's main ingredients, was rising. Running the company was getting more difficult, and Candler decided it was the right time to sell. Who bought Coca-Cola? A group of investors led by Ernest Woodruff, a businessman, bought Coca-Cola from Candler. Woodruff became the president of the Coca-Cola Company in 1923, and his goal was simple: make Coca-Cola available to every single person on the planet. But this was not an easy task. At that time, the world was still very disconnected. There were no modern supply chains, no global marketing strategies, and no easy ways to transport goods internationally. Woodruff had to build everything from scratch. To expand Coca-Cola outside the United States, he focused on 3 things. 1. Setting up bottling plants in different countries instead of just shipping Coca-Cola from America. 2. Creating marketing campaigns tailored to different cultures so people around the world would feel like Coca-Cola was made for them. 3. Making Coca-Cola available to soldiers, workers, and travelers, ensuring that wherever people went, they could find a bottle of Coca-Cola. By the 1930s, Coca-Cola had already entered many international markets. But it was still not a dominant global brand. That changed during World War II. When World War II started in 1939, American soldiers were being sent to fight in different parts of the world. These soldiers missed home, and they wanted something that reminded them of America. Coca-Cola saw this as an opportunity. Woodruff made a bold promise. Every American soldier anywhere in the world should be able to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for just 5 cents. To make this happen, Coca-Cola built bottling plants in war zones so soldiers could get fresh Coca-Cola no matter where they were stationed. This was a marketing strategy like no other. Because of this, millions of soldiers became addicted to Coca-Cola during the war. And when the war ended, these soldiers returned home and continued drinking Coca-Cola, making it even more popular. But something even bigger happened. As Coca-Cola was setting up bottling plants in Europe, Asia, and Africa to serve soldiers, local people in those countries also started drinking Coca-Cola. By the time the war was over in 1945, Coca-Cola had entered over 44 countries. It had successfully used war to expand its global empire. While Coca-Cola was dominating the world, Pepsi was struggling. In the 1930s, Pepsi had nearly gone bankrupt because it could not compete with Coca-Cola's powerful marketing. But after World War II, Pepsi decided to fight back aggressively. By the 1970s, Coca-Cola was the undisputed king of soft drinks. It had been #1 for decades. But Pepsi was not ready to give up. In 1975, Pepsi launched one of the most famous marketing campaigns in history, the Pepsi Challenge. The concept was simple. Pepsi set up blind taste tests in malls and public places. People were given 2 unmarked cups, one with Coca-Cola and one with Pepsi. They were asked to take a sip from both and say which one tasted better. The results were shocking. A majority of people chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Pepsi used this campaign to attack Coca-Cola directly, running commercials that showed real people choosing Pepsi in blind taste tests. This was a massive hit. Pepsi had challenged Coca-Cola before, especially during the Great Depression with its lower price. But in 1975, the Pepsi Challenge changed the game. It wasn't just about price anymore. It was about taste. For the first time, Pepsi was winning over customers by proving people preferred its flavor over Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was losing customers. By the 1980s, Pepsi was getting too close to Coca-Cola. Pepsi had positioned itself as the cooler, younger brand, while Coca-Cola was starting to be seen as old-fashioned. Coca-Cola panicked. In 1985, they made the worst decision in company history. They changed the original Coca-Cola formula and introduced a new version called New Coke. They believed this would help them win back younger customers who preferred Pepsi. But they were completely wrong. As soon as New Coke hit the market, there was massive backlash. People hated it. Customers boycotted Coca-Cola. They started hoarding the old Coca-Cola and refused to buy the new version. The public demanded the return of the original formula. Coca-Cola had no choice. After just 79 days, Coca-Cola was forced to bring back the original formula under the name Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke was a massive failure, but ironically, it helped Coca-Cola in the long run because it reminded people just how much they loved the original taste. This was one of the biggest marketing disasters in history. But Coca-Cola survived. The rivalry between Coca-Cola and Pepsi only got bigger over the years. Both companies spent billions of dollars on advertising, constantly trying to outdo each other. Pepsi focused on celebrities. It signed deals with Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, and Beyoncé, making Pepsi look more modern and stylish. Coca-Cola focused on emotional branding. It created the famous Share a Coke campaign and the legendary Christmas ads with Santa Claus. For decades, Coca-Cola and Pepsi attacked each other in commercials, lawsuits, and product launches. Even today, the Coca-Cola versus Pepsi battle continues, but Coca-Cola still remains the #1 soft drink brand in the world. The controversies. Coca-Cola's darkest secrets. Health controversy. Coca-Cola has been criticized for contributing to obesity and diabetes due to its high sugar content. Water crisis. In countries like India, Coca-Cola has been accused of taking too much groundwater, causing water shortages for local communities. Plastic pollution. Coca-Cola has been called out for being one of the biggest contributors to plastic waste worldwide. Lawsuits. Coca-Cola has faced multiple lawsuits, including accusations of hiring paramilitary groups in Colombia to stop labor unions. Despite these controversies, Coca-Cola remains one of the most powerful brands in history. Coca-Cola had already established itself as the world's most recognized soft drink brand. It had dominated the global market, fought off Pepsi, survived the disaster of New Coke, and continued to shape culture with its marketing. But the 21st century presented new challenges: health-conscious consumers, environmental concerns, and shifting drinking habits. By the early 2000s, Coca-Cola faced a new problem. Soda sales were declining. People were becoming more health-conscious, and concerns over sugar, obesity, and diabetes were pushing consumers toward healthier alternatives. Coca-Cola had two options. 1. Ignore the trend and keep selling soda. 2. Adapt and expand beyond soda. They chose the second option. Instead of fighting the shift, Coca-Cola started buying and launching new beverages to dominate every part of the drinks market. Here's how Coca-Cola expanded beyond soda. The water market. The smartest move. Coca-Cola realized that if people were drinking less soda, they were drinking more water. Instead of letting bottled water brands take over, Coca-Cola decided to dominate this space too. 2002. Coca-Cola launched Dasani, its bottled water brand, which became one of the best-selling water brands in the world. 2007. Coca-Cola acquired Glacéau, the company behind vitamin water and smart water, for $4.1 billion, one of the biggest beverage deals in history. Coca-Cola now owned some of the most popular bottled water brands, ensuring that even if soda sales dropped, people would still be drinking Coca-Cola-owned products. The juice business. Buying out the competition. If people weren't drinking soda, they were drinking juice. Coca-Cola knew it couldn't create a successful juice brand from scratch, so instead, it bought one of the biggest juice companies in the world. In 2001, Coca-Cola purchased Minute Maid, one of the most well-known juice brands. In 2007, it acquired Odwalla, a premium smoothie and juice company, though it later discontinued the brand in 2020. In 2009, Coca-Cola bought a stake in Innocent Drinks, a European smoothie and juice brand that became incredibly popular. The energy drink market. Taking on Red Bull. Red Bull and Monster Energy were dominating the energy drink market, and Coca-Cola wanted a piece of it. 2014. Coca-Cola bought a 16.7% stake in Monster Energy for $2.15 billion, securing a partnership that allowed Monster to dominate while Coca-Cola distributed its drinks globally. Coca-Cola also launched its own energy drink, Coca-Cola Energy, though it struggled to compete with Red Bull and Monster. The coffee takeover, entering Starbucks territory. Coffee was a $1 trillion industry, and Coca-Cola had no major presence in it. That changed in 2018 when Coca-Cola made one of its biggest purchases ever, buying Costa Coffee for $5.1 billion. Costa Coffee was the UK's largest coffee chain and had over 4,000 locations worldwide. With this deal, Coca-Cola officially entered the coffee industry, competing directly with Starbucks. One of Coca-Cola's most genius strategies is brand diversification. Many people think Coca-Cola only sells Coke, Sprite, and Fanta. But in reality, the company owns over 500 different beverage brands across the world. Here's a shocking fact. Coca-Cola doesn't just compete with other drink brands. It owns them. Think you're drinking a healthy alternative? It might still be owned by Coca-Cola. Think you're supporting a small, independent brand? Coca-Cola might secretly own it. Coca-Cola mastered the art of controlling the market from all angles, ensuring that no matter what you drink, the company makes money. The business of sponsorships. How Coca-Cola stays relevant forever? Coca-Cola's power isn't just in its drinks. It's in its branding and sponsorship deals. The company spends billions of dollars every year to make sure its name is everywhere. The Olympics. The longest sponsorship deal in history. Coca-Cola has been a sponsor of the Olympic Games since 1928, making it the longest-running sponsor in history. No matter where the Olympics are held, Coca-Cola is there, ensuring billions of people see its brand. The FIFA World Cup, dominating football, soccer. Since 1978, Coca-Cola has been an official sponsor of the FIFA World Cup, one of the most watched events in the world. This ensures Coca-Cola remains popular in countries where football is the dominant sport. The Super Bowl, controlling America's biggest event. Every year, Coca-Cola spends tens of millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials, making sure its ads become part of pop culture. Coca-Cola isn't just thinking about today, it's planning for the next 100 years. Here's where the company is headed: AI-powered marketing. Coca-Cola is now using artificial intelligence, AI, to create ads, analyze consumer behavior, and predict trends before they happen. Sustainable packaging. The company is investing billions into biodegradable bottles, reusable containers, and recycled plastic to fight pollution. Alcoholic beverages. Coca-Cola is slowly entering the alcohol market, launching drinks like Topo Chico Hard Seltzer and partnering with alcohol brands. Health-focused drinks. The company is expanding into plant-based drinks, protein shakes, and functional beverages to appeal to health-conscious consumers. Direct-to-consumer sales. Coca-Cola is testing subscription models and online sales, allowing customers to order customized drinks straight from the company. Coca-Cola is more than just a drink. It's an empire, a cultural icon, and a marketing powerhouse. It turned a 5-cent soda into a $250 billion company. It survived World War II, the Cola Wars, and massive scandals. It adapts, innovates, and dominates the global beverage industry. No matter how much the world changes, one thing is certain: Coca-Cola is here to stay. Coca-Cola's journey is more than just a business story. It's a lesson in resilience, vision, and adaptation. From a small pharmacy in Atlanta to a global empire worth billions of dollars, Coca-Cola proves one thing: success is not about luck. It's about strategy, consistency, and the ability to evolve. Here are the biggest lessons you can learn from Coca-Cola's incredible success. 1. Build a strong brand. Coca-Cola never just sold a drink. It sold happiness, memories, and emotions. Your brand is more than your product. It's how people feel about it. Whether you're starting a business, growing a career, or creating something new, focus on building a strong identity that people connect with. 2. Never fear competition. Use it to grow. Pepsi came after Coca-Cola like a storm, but instead of giving up, Coca-Cola fought harder. The lesson? Competition forces you to improve. If someone challenges you, don't panic. Get better, innovate, and prove why you deserve to be number one. 3. Mistakes are not the end. They are a new beginning. Coca-Cola's biggest failure, New Coke, could have destroyed the company. But instead, they admitted their mistake, listened to their customers, and bounced back stronger. In life, you will fail. What matters is how you respond. Keep going, keep learning, and keep improving. 4. Adapt or die. Coca-Cola changed its marketing, packaging, and strategy over time to stay relevant. In a fast-changing world, if you refuse to evolve, you will be left behind. Always be ready to adapt and grow, no matter what industry you're in. 5. Think big and take risks. Coca-Cola didn't stop at America. It aimed for the world. If you want to achieve greatness, stop thinking small. Dream big, take risks, and go after what you truly want. Coca-Cola is not just a drink. It's proof that anything is possible if you work hard, believe in your vision, and never stop improving. If you want more powerful and inspiring stories like this, subscribe to this channel and stay motivated to achieve your own success. Your journey is just beginning.